It's your boy Crypto Trouble with another video. Today, hope everyone is doing good. I hope everyone family is blessed. Today, I'm talking about R3. R3 Corda. They've won a central banking award. So let's get into this. So let's go. They won a central banking award 2023. By the way, obviously in the article they may talk about R3 like when um the past, a little bit about the past, but I'll try a quick I'll try to beat past it quickly. So let's get into it. So in 2021, R3 Corda was chosen as the underlying distributed ledger technology DLT platform for the National Bank of Kazakhstan Digital Tenge pilot project. R3 has worked closely with financial markets participants, the expert community, and international partners. This year, R3 Corda was selected by the Central Bank of United Arab Emirates (UAE) to develop its Digital Dirham. The Slovenian, I can't even pronounce that. Um, the the Sloveri Risinks Bank Krona, the Bank for International Settlement, the BIS Project Jura, where Banque de France and Swiss National Bank Wholesale explored cross-border central bank digital currency CBDCs, and Project Stellar, where the Bank of Japan and the European Central Bank tested CBDCs anonymously, were also based on R3 Corda. R3 Corda. I apologize if I butcher any of the names, because I'm not gonna lie, some of these names I can't even pronounce properly, so forgive me for that. Yeah, let's continue. As well as using R3 for domestic retail CBDCs, sorry, as well as using R3 for domestic retail payments, the Rissax Bank used it in Project Icebreaker, a cross-border retail CBD project with the BIS. So those who've been following what BIS, the Bank of International Settlements, they've been doing a lot of projects, and obviously Project Icebreaker was one I heard a couple months ago, and they've got some other ones going on as well, but I didn't know they were using R3 as the payment rail. So yeah, that's interesting. But let's continue. Hub in Norway region and Central Bank of Norway and Israel. R3 also provided one of two technical work streams as part of Project Dunbar, which looks at multi-CBDC shared settlement platform and involves the Reserve Bank of Australia, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the South African Reserve Bank, and Bank Negara from Malaysia in partnership with the BIS project during Project Jasper, which looked at clearing and settlement of payments and securities using distributed ledger technology or DLT. The Bank of Canada used Corda. So a lot of major a lot of major countries are using Corda, R3 Corda settlement technology or DLT technology. So yeah, for investors in not XRP, XDC, we like that a lot. But let's continue. So Jack Fletcher, government relations manager at R3, explained that because Corda is a DLT system designed around a regulated environment, It doesn't have things like mining. It doesn't have things like broadcast protocols. It is a private permission network which allows for governance. As to where R3 sees CBDC technology evolving in terms of use by central banks, we see the most likely development being that a central bank would have its own distinctive network. Fletcher tells central banking, in contrast, on an open protocol, a central bank would not be able to govern the system with rules and regulations, rules and conditions. So let me read that bit again for more context. So in contrast, an open protocol, a central bank would not be able to govern the system with rules and conditions. So that's interesting. But it's interesting because they say the government, like a central bank, wouldn't be able to control it with rules and conditions, but I believe they will, man. Like for example, they'll in terms of like they'll for example, to get to receive this payment, you may have to do this and that, and you know, so that's what they say. But yeah, let's continue though, man. I don't believe so. I believe they'll put like something in their little back door somewhere. But let's continue. Though more central banks are investigating CBDCs, its use case is sometimes unclear. Kazakhstan is a good example of nations to some degree looking to leapfrog technology, says Fletcher. Kazakhstan needs a new payment infrastructure, and one of the things the central bank is also interested in doing is utilizing the programmability of DLT to have a different token types within its currency. One use case of programmability in Kazakhstan is imposing limits on spending on social welfare. In the UK, that is without conditions. It's just cash in your bank, says Fletcher. In other countries, it comes with certain conditions. You can only spend on certain things, or you can't spend on. Sorry, you can't spend on. Wait, you can't spend on certain. Wait, you can only spend on certain things, or you can't spend on certain things. Yeah. So going back to what I was saying. So yes, they say there's no rules, or the central bank can't have rules. There won't be rules and conditions, but really and truly, for example, Kazakhstan looking to program its money or for its welfare situation, potentially not even welfare, but just in general. For example, having conditions on getting money, like for example, Fletcher said in the UK, you just cash in your bank account. Do you understand? So you don't really have to go through too many loopholes or hurdles to get that money. But in other jurisdictions, they may impose different things and different criteria. So yeah, but let's continue. The National Bank of Kazakhstan is looking at whether you can enforce those rules digitally, and yes, you can, because Quincy Jones from R3 has already stated certain. He's basically gone in depth about the technology, not just R3, Corda, and XTC, but just in general, of a more in depth and more of our understanding to the technology. But let's get onto this. So let me continue. Sorry. So R3 itself is entirely agnostic on the intrinsics of each nation and how they choose to do these things. So each nation or each jurisdiction will have its own rules, and obviously R3 is all business. Do you understand? They're not really. I won't say they would not care, but it's just business as usual. Do you understand? And they understand. So it's just business. So I respect that in that term, in that sense. But let's continue. So UAE, meanwhile, is a key example of a country that has embraced new technologies and embraced as a fintech hub, says Fletcher. Its CBDC strategy is effectively another milestone in this journey. Alice, Alyssa DiCaprio is chief economist at R3 and points out that most of the literature, hold on, so sorry, the literature currently available on CBDCs has limited relevance to most of the countries that have rolled out CBDCs. This is because the literature looks at particular equilibrium, which is a small part of the economy, versus the general equilibrium, equilibrium, which is the entire economy. So basically, looking at different aspects of the large impact and the smaller impact. So let's continue. Furthermore, assessing the potential impact of CBDCs is made more challenging because there is no single monetary theory, says DiCaprio. Every time the economy changes, the tools that are relevant for the central bank change. Therefore, she thinks it is not so much a question of how CBDCs will impact monetary policy as how can CBDC be designed around the existing monetary policies to make it stronger or give central banks additional tools. I think in the end you can design CBDCs so they fit within the existing monetary framework, and I think that's what countries are trying to do. So of course, you know, a lot of countries are looking for more control, over their citizens, and um, obviously some debate is quicker, it's faster, but really, really and truly, it comes down to control, man. And you know, the world's going into a cashless society, whether you like it or not. You understand? So, it's yeah, man. It's either you learn about this information or you're gonna get left behind. So, let's continue. Let me continue. Let's continue into this. So, as monetary, yeah. So, just so yeah. Sorry. As monetary policy and financial stability are closely entwined, while there are potentially disruptive elements to introduce CBDCs, analytics and financial ability could improve, says DiCaprio. For example, it might become more obvious when a bank run is about to happen. At this stage, how customers will behave around widespread CBDCs still largely unknown, DiCaprio says, and this is one frontier of knowledge in terms of public use. A key element of success will be a merchant uptake. So, merchant uptake. So, what do people take and how, the sellers, the buyers and sellers, or a seller. You see, one thing I would like to quickly add, I see a lot of these maybe articles or these individuals sometimes when they speak, you need to really understand the language of what they're saying because they may use different words, but just in a different terminology, if that makes sense. So it's really important you educate yourself on what certain words mean and, really understand what's really going on. Just educate yourself. But let's continue. DiCaprio also points out the internationally transformative implications of wholesale CBDC. All of the rollouts we have today are retail, but most of the experimentation is wholesale or a combination of both. She says, with wholesale, you're actually building it into the banking system, and so you're fully revamping how the banking system is going to be working. The STX network, the decentralized Swiss Securities token exchange is one example of where there is a demand for wholesale CBDC. For a while, they have been using their own stable coin that has been backed 1-to-1 with the Swiss franc in an arrangement with the Swiss National Bank, says Fletcher. But STX itself has been saying that what it really wants is Swiss wholesale CBDC available in its system. In R3's experience, Fletcher says one of the most critical features to ensure cross-border interoperability lies at the early stages of development. Where we're seeing best practice is not to necessarily rush these things, but to sit back and think about how we actually progress. Yeah, so this was in depth talking about R3 and their partnerships and what they're really doing. But again, this is good news. R3 did win the central bank. They won a central bank award. So let me know what your thoughts and your opinions are. XCC's been pumping recently. I don't really think people know about them winning an award and all this information, but I've been pumping on various other things and good news and certain other things. But what's your opinion on what's going on? And it's your boy Crypto Trapper, and I'm out.